Hey guys, and welcome to The Bite. My name's Jackie, and today we're going to be making a one-pot creamy white wine chicken. Here's what you're going to need. You're going to need 3 chicken breasts that I've just sliced in half long ways. You're going to need some spinach. I've got 3 tomatoes, 1 small onion, 1 clove of garlic, some fresh basil, some heavy cream, some white wine of course, and then for spices, we're gonna be using turmeric, paprika, Italian seasoning, poultry seasoning, hot peppers, red hot pepper flakes, some salt and pepper, of course some extra virgin olive oil, and we're gonna be serving this on some linguine pasta today. You can use whatever kind of pasta you want. So here's what you have to do. I'm just gonna take my chicken breasts and put them into a large mixing bowl. To that we're going to add just a little bit of olive oil, a nice drizzle just so that the spices can adhere to the chicken. And I know this may look like a lot of seasoning, but what I want to do is give it a nice coat so that the sauce has a lot of flavor as we're making it. So this is what you want your chicken to look like. I ended up using my hands just because, you know, your hands are the best kitchen tool that you have. And you can tell that they're fully saturated in all the spices. And then I wash my hands. Of course, you want to always make sure you wash your hands whenever you handle raw meat. And then with this, we're going to take it to the stove. Let's go. Okay guys, so I've got my skillet preheating with a couple tablespoons of olive oil. And that's what you want to hear when the chicken hits the pan. Now I said that I sliced the chicken breasts in half, long ways. And that's going to give you a little bit more. It's going to make your chicken breast extend a little bit further so that you have a little more of a meal than you would have, with the full chicken breasts. I like to do it that way. I find that it just goes a little longer. So I'm going to let them sear on both sides for a couple minutes until they're nice and brown and they have a nice golden crust on them. We're going to keep the brown bits on the bottom, and then with that, I'll show you what we're going to do. So while my chicken is still cooking up on one side, my water's already boiling, so I'm just gonna salt it. We wanna add flavor to every layer, and then we're gonna directly add in our pasta. Bada bing, bada boom. So the chicken is about done on one side, and you can see that it's got a nice golden crust on there. That's exactly what we want. And I left it on there until the chicken was no longer sticking to the bottom of the pan. And look at that beautiful crust. That's exactly what you want. And also keep in mind, you don't want to overcrowd the pan. Otherwise your chicken is not going to get this nice golden crust. It's going to be a little bit softer. It's almost going to steam the chicken. And we don't want that. We want a nice crust. We also want these brown bits to give the sauce a lot of flavor. Okay, so I've added a couple extra tablespoons of olive oil. I found that it was getting a little bit dry, so if you find that happens to you, go ahead and add an extra tablespoon or so of olive oil. And if you find that your pan is getting a little too hot, go ahead and turn the heat down just a tad. You don't want it to burn the outside of your chicken and not cook the inside. Okay, just flipping the last 2 chickens. Okay, so I've just taken off the last of my chicken, and now we're gonna add the onions. I don't know where my spoon is, so we're just gonna grab another one. Okay, let those get a little bit of translucent. Okay, onions are nice and translucent, and to that we're gonna add the garlic. Just let that saute for about 30 seconds. Get nice and fragrant. And then to that we're gonna add the tomatoes. And you can see that it immediately deglazes the pan. You saw that there were brown bits over here on the pan, and the tomatoes just suck that all right up. So now that flavor is infused into the sauce. And we're gonna let this simmer for about 3-4 minutes until a little bit of the liquid is gone. Okay, you can see some of the liquid has evaporated, And to that, we're just gonna add a little bit of white wine, about half a cup. And remember guys, for the full measurements, go to my blog. The link is gonna be down below. You'll see the full measurements there and a printable version of the recipe. You're gonna want the wine to cook down just a bit. And we're also gonna add a little bit of salt and some pepper. So while my tomatoes and white wine are cooking down, I did remove the pasta from the pasta water, but I reserved the cooking liquid. This has a lot of good starches from the pasta that are gonna add a nice thickness to the sauce. So while that is all being done, I do wanna just cut up my spinach. I've washed about 2 cups full of spinach. And I wanna just give them a rough chop to make it a little easier to eat. They're gonna wilt down, of course, in the pan, but you know, want to make it a little easier on people. So just a little rough chop, and we'll set these aside. Okay. So the tomatoes and white wine are looking good. To this, we are gonna add some heavy cream. I had this at room temperature. I don't want to add anything too cold because I don't want my sauce to curdle. So we're going to add this all in, get it nice and luxurious. And I know this is kind of, it makes the dish a little bit heavier, but believe me, it may be a little bit of an indulgence, but it's so worth it. Now at this point, this would be the perfect time to, 1, check if you need any salt, and 2, to add the pasta water. So I'm gonna check and see if it needs anything. And it's perfect. So we're gonna ladle out a little bit at a time of the pasta water. We're just gonna add in our spinach. Gonna let this wilt down before we add our chicken back in. You can even add mushrooms to this. You can make it with shrimp, that would be delicious. Okay, so now the spinach has wilted down. We're gonna add the chicken back in, and we're just gonna let that cook for another couple minutes. Get the chicken nice and juicy. Okay, lastly, while the chicken is finishing up, I just want to take some basil leaves. I have 2 large basil leaves here that I've rolled up, and I'm just going to give it a quick chiffonade, and then cut it into smaller pieces, and sprinkle that onto the chicken. Okay, this is the perfect time to turn off the stove and bring this baby to the dinner table. And today, this is my dinner table, guys. So, I'm gonna put myself a nice big pile of pasta. Yeah. And some chicken with the sauce. You wanna get a little bit of everything, guys. Look at me. I'm already ready with my fork. Okay, I want as much of that sauce. Should have probably used the ladle, but that's okay. If you want, you can top this baby off with a little bit of parm because, I mean, it's Parmesan. Who doesn't want Parmesan? And finish it off with a nice little sprig of basil. Look at this beauty. Does this not make you happy? This makes me very happy. It makes me happy because I'm about to eat it. All right. I can smell it. It smells so good. All right. The flavors work so well together, guys. gotta take a second bite. It's creamy. It's not too heavy. This is one of my favorite dishes to make, and for a good reason. So for the full recipe, guys, go to my website. It's in the description box. Make sure to like and subscribe this video for more. Thank you for watching The Bite.